everyone. How did you enjoy that lovely music?
Yeah, where did it go?
Awesome. No, I'm glad Twitter is actually showing the Spaces feature again. Remember last time I had to ping you, Stephen, because for some reason the feature was completely gone from my app. I did think I had that happen before a year ago or something like that. Pretty weird for features to just disappear.
Maybe they were A/B testing if users, like having the feature or not. And
Yeah,
you were the B portion of the test.
that's a really great
Could
A/B test to hide the feature from the actual host of the space right when it's time to start it. That seems like a useful test.
did you hear any
Yeah, I think
music?
they learned some valuable user feedback there that users don't like having features hidden from them. They wouldn't have known that without doing that test. So it's really important.
Did you hear any music in the beginning, Stephen? Because I didn't.
You're muted in case you were responding to Mo. But all right, how about we just get
Sorry, who
go ahead. Might be a delay here too.
you said something about responding to Mo. You
Oh
said
yeah,
what
Mo
would you
was
say?
asking if you did hear the music at the beginning because she didn't.
Oh, I actually did not hear Mo talk at all.
Okay.
Can you say something, Mo, just so I can hear if I hear you? Because
Testing one, two,
yeah, I see
Bitcoin.
your mute thing is turned off, but I don't hear you at all.
Can you hear me, Christoph?
I can hear you, Mo.
Okay, sweet.
Okay, let me try rejoining the space. How about that?
Do it.
Something is clearly buggy.
There's some ghosts in here.
All right, maybe we need to start moving these calls to Noster or something else at some point in the future. We'll see how that goes. Let me just add Stephen here again. Okay, but how about we just kick things off then? So welcome to the community call number 43. We'll use the same format we had the last few times. In general, this is meant to be just an open conversation. So if anyone wants to discuss any topic related to Bitcoin and design, this is a good place. Just raise your hand. I'd also appreciate it if you retweet this space here or so we can get a few more people in here. And the typical format that we've been doing the last few weeks is that we just go over the Bitcoin Design newsletter, which also came out today, which is a summary of what happened in the Bitcoin design community the last 3 weeks. So there's a pretty diverse set of activity that happens because it's a pretty diverse community, I think. So there's stuff that kind of affects that's done for the community, like calls that we all have together that are organized for anyone to join. But there's also very project specific work happening. And sometimes people just do fun experiments or looking for jobs or looking for someone to hire or contributors to their projects. All kinds of stuff is covered in the newsletter. So with this, and it's very, very short, it's just bullets, right? So in this call, we can kind of add a few more details and expand on things. But if there's another topic you'd like to chat about, also a good time to do so. And looking at the newsletter subscribers, we're at 492. So I think very soon we might hit the 500 number. So that'd be nice to see. Probably all bots, but who cares? Just need to get those numbers up. How does that sound? Any other suggestions for topics you would like to chat about today?
I'm good.
All right, and
Super.
also thanks. Go ahead.
No, I was saying it's super nice to see Pav here and Jones as well, and Daniel. We've got a whole little crew is here, so that's super nice. Nice and cozy. And Andrew as well. Nice. Super nice.
Yes, thank you for joining, and also for Stephen to making that time. And Paulo, you just requested to speak. What do you have for us today?
Uh, yeah. Hi, everybody. I was interested. I would like to know if maybe you guys have any more information about this subject that one of you, I don't know if it was you, Christoph, I think you retweeted something recently about relationship between dark mode on Bitcoin wallets and QR codes in
Yeah,
sunlight.
yes, Connor brought that up in the Design Guide channel today. That is a tweet by maybe someone can search for this real quick on Twitter and pin it
On
to
it.
this space. So by Joe Nakamoto, he put out a call for developers that says dark mode is cool, but in sunny countries, scanning QR codes just doesn't work, and the glare it's just not, it just doesn't work very well. So yes, I think and there are two videos in that Twitter thread that are really good to watch, where he tries to get a local onto using a Bitcoin wallet, a Lightning wallet, and they're out in just beautiful like beach and you see palm trees, blue sky, and the scanning just doesn't work between their phones. They can't read the QR code because of the glare, and so that seems to be related to dark mode. So I mean, it's interesting with operating systems. I think Apple was kind of leading the charge there of just having default light and dark modes in part of the operating system. And that value, whatever's set by the operating system, is also passed through. Applications can tap into that and then automatically adjust their display to either show light mode and dark mode. That's also possible for all kinds of accessibility settings, like if the user chooses to make the fonts bigger or wants increased contrast or reduced motions, applications can tap and see all those user preferences and then show them. And light mode, dark mode really seems to be one that developers really love, but as this tweet and as these videos show, it's just not always appropriate or practical. And so supporting both might be a good idea.
I'm very
Yeah.
curious about this subject because I wonder that maybe it doesn't necessarily have to do with the dark mode itself. Maybe it just has to do with the size or with the borders of the QR code.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, you nailed it, Paulo. It's not a dark mode issue, I don't think. I mean, first of all, like this might just be a semantic thing I'm picking at, but like when I think of dark mode, it implies that it's a mode. So if it's dark mode, that means that there's a light mode too. So it's a good important to differentiate between like something that has light mode and dark mode versus something that's just a dark UI and that's all there is. But still, like a QR code is white and black, so it shouldn't matter if it's in dark mode or light mode. It's still a QR code, like it's white and black. So I don't really see how the dark mode really plays into the QR code at all, unless you're talking about the brightness of the screen. But again, the brightness of the screen is independent of light mode and dark mode. You could still be in dark mode, but the phone could sense the temperature and brighten the screen, or the user could manually brighten the screen if they know how. But when I'm looking at these videos that Joe Nakamoto is posting, you can actually see the QR code very clearly. Like it pops, like especially the second video, it pops out a lot. So the screen is plenty bright. I think what's actually happening here is this is an issue with the camera having an inability to focus. I mean, I'm not there in the video, I can't see what's going on, but this is a problem that I've witnessed time and time again with open source Bitcoin wallets running on Android. The iOS version will work perfectly fine. I guess I'm not that hardcore of an engineer, but I think that the iOS camera libraries are just a little bit easier to work with. The Android ones, just particularly open source Bitcoin wallets, they have a very, very difficult time automatically focusing, knowing when to focus the camera. And so I don't, that's going to be a problem, whether it's light mode or dark mode. I agree with the sentiment that we shouldn't be frothing at the mouth, dark mode maximalists here. But I do think it's a camera focus issue and not a dark mode issue.
Awesome. Thanks for chiming in with that. Yeah, it'd be interesting. That's actually a very easy thing to test as well. Just go outside and just print a QR code, or if you have two devices, go out in the sun and just scan it back and forth and see which works best. I have an Android here, a Samsung Galaxy something, and an iPhone. I could probably practically test it and see if there are problems with it.
Test it empirically. Yeah, that'd be good. Test it empirically and get some data on that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the middle of winter here. I don't know if we're going to get this really bright, sun, but might be. I see John's also in that thread commenting on it.
You could do it in a tanning bed.
Does that actually create? I mean, I don't even know how tanning beds work. So, but yeah.
Oh, Stephen, love your suggestions.
It's getting me. Cool, that's interesting. There are some other ideas for apps: tiny app size, local languages include a what is Bitcoin explainer, simple app name, no KYC, plug and play, no PIN until dollars received, solution for cracked screen. I wonder what that means. What's a solution for cracked screen? Like you can't scan QR codes when the screen's cracked?
Oh yeah, because I mean, if it's seriously cracked, it might make the QR code damaged beyond, like it might make it unreadable. So then it's like, well, do you use NFC? Do you use a copy and paste thing? Do you use Lightning address? Whatever it is. But yeah, I could see the cracked screen being a problem.
Yeah, Evan Kaludis from Zeus here chimes in. That's why Zeus has light themes and NFC support. No need to worry about your camera being able to pick up a QR.
And one thing, like I think wallet developers can do, like even if they only have a dark mode on their app, just like make it so that like put in some kind of feature. If you can tap into like whatever OS API you need to do this, just make it brighten the screen whenever there's a QR code. Because like a lot of like apps do that already as is. It's just kind of like, Ticketmaster or Eventbrite or whatever. I think, if you're walking into a concert, it might be totally dark, but then you pull out the like ticket QR code and then the whole screen like suddenly, turns into this bright orb and, makes it brighten up the scan. So you could do the same thing with a Bitcoin wallet.
Awesome. Paulo, how was that? Do you have any other thoughts on this one?
Great explanation. Yeah. Love it. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a rabbit hole when it comes to rendering and displaying QR codes.
Yeah, I mean, something very simple that I feel like I haven't seen anywhere is just tap it to make it really big on the screen, as big as possible. Even if it doesn't give you a lot more, but just that little bit might just make the difference.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking out loud as well is in terms of the accessibility. When we did the accessibility test on the wallets, when the QR code would pop up on the screen, a person who's blind would never know that the QR code is on the screen because there were no notifications or anything. So that's aside from the sun factor or people who have slight, blindness or this kind of thing. Someone who can't see at all, I think, possibly wouldn't know that there's a QR code on the screen. I'm curious how many wallets actually have that integrated in the in the text to speech. I don't recall that we found many, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's a very simple markup. The QR code image just has to have the tags that a screen reader can read out what the person is looking at, and that the QR code is a selectable element. And most wallets just don't have it. So basically, the QR code is not visible. It doesn't exist for a blind person or a low vision person. It's a very simple fix, actually, but many wallets just did not fix that. And we filed a bunch of issues, I think, and let a bunch of teams know. Maybe they've already fixed it since we reported those. And more information on that is in the Bitcoin design guide in the accessibility page, if you're curious. All right. Cool. Should we hop over to the newsletter?
Yes, we should. And that was actually one of the topics from the newsletter. So we already knocked one off the list. What should we talk about next?
Start at the top. The merchant product review. We reviewed Tianki, merchant platform for El Salvadorians. Stephen again led us through those call. Had a local, not a local version. I think you signed up on the Tianki website and clicked through it, familiarized yourself with it, and then led the call. And we kind of talked about the different features. I believe it is based on BTC Pay, but the difference is that they focus on offering a hosted version of it with some features specific for El Salvadorians, like the local Bitcoin law and integrations with Chivo and whatnot. So there's a recording there. I think the call was pretty interesting to see kind of how they present this localized Bitcoin product and what makes them unique. That was a good one. The next one in the newsletter is the Pay Join Design Challenge. So that one was interesting. The story behind it is that Dan Gold, I think, created this. He did a call for the community about pay joins, and then created this Pay Join Design Challenge. So in the guide, we have a page about design challenges. So for anyone who wants to just flex their muscles a little bit, do some design exploration, or just have fun, there are these handful of challenges that they can do within 4 to 6 hours or so. And Dan added the one about making a private payment. I think it was Bob wants to buy a wedding ring or something for Alice without her knowing, and wanting to do a pay join in order to make the transaction not easily traceable. And then Yashraj took that challenge before Christmas, dug in and went super, super deep on it and mapped out. He wrote this long document, mapped out a whole user flow with it, collaborated with Dan, who's implementing this in the No Looking app, which I think was also part of the Legends of Lightning tournament. And so really cool to see how, one thing kind of led to the next here and turned into a collaboration and then a real thing. And so I think the next step is for that Yashraj will turn this into a case study for the Bitcoin Design Guide, just kind of breaking down how the whole thing went down and then his findings. And maybe someone else wants to build on that in the future. I'm not sure what his and Dan's plans there are right now. But if you want to check out the write-up and the flow diagram and everything, just go to the newsletter and check it out. Mo, how about you take the next one? That's for the UX research call, number 10. Or were there any questions about pay joins and whatnot? Otherwise, I'll hand it to Mo.
Yeah, we're cracking on as a group with the UX research calls. They're now slightly changed, the format, in the sense that we're working collaboratively, very much out in the open. We're building together. And what's really nice at the moment is that I'm not actually building the kit on my own. I've got these two, Jan helping out. He's a product designer and with a focus on UX research, and then Art as well, who's a UX researcher. So, the sections within the UX research toolkit are not being created by one person, i.e. me. They're being created by a collaborative group of people who have different viewpoints and, insights into how to do certain processes. So I think it's going to be really, really nice. At the moment, we're in the refinement stage of the content. For the scope and build phase, there are 3 tools that we're suggesting projects within the ecosystem to use. So we're kind of refining that content now, Figma files or FigJam files. And then Art is going to user test them. So we're going to user test the UX research toolkit, which is super cool. So yeah, those calls are open to everyone, Paulo or Andrew or anyone who would like to join in on those calls. They're absolutely open to everyone. So yeah, feel free to jump in.
Speaking about research, Jakob just shared his document about journey maps, and he'll do a presentation on it tomorrow. Is that an upcoming call tomorrow? I don't have it in my head right now.
Yeah, I love it that you brought that up, Christoph. It's good that you mentioned that. Yeah, so Jakob, did some user testing on the on GetAlby, and he mapped that out in a user journey map. And he's going to share his process tomorrow with the community on a UX research call, how he went about doing it and what insights he gained. It was a really nice user journey map that he created, which I think I shared it in the general channel. I think it's tomorrow at 3 UTC, if I'm correct. Yeah, also everyone's free to join on that one as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I really like user journey maps and do them not enough at all. It's just such a great overview where you don't get into the details. You just think about all the different steps a person takes, what they encounter, what questions they might have, what problems can arise, not just what they need to do, but kind of what the product also needs to do. And if you map that out really well, then it gives everyone in a project, no matter if they work synchronously, asynchronously, all the different backgrounds, gives everyone a pretty good map of just what's actually happening. And then it allows everyone to kind of work towards a better overall fluent experience in a better way, because you kind of orient yourself around the whole user experience flow, and not just maybe just the thing that you're most excited about or the thing you're just working on that day. So I'm going to join that call and learn a few things. All right, next one. What do we have here? Oh, the newsletter itself. We're looking for contributors, also for the Twitter account. Anyone wants to join, just reach out or help out. Just reach out to me, Christoph, or Mo on Slack or Twitter. We're probably and love to hear from you. Now on to the next one. Stephen, would you like to talk about the latest jam session and what's going on with the guide in the next few weeks?
Yeah, sure. We jammed hard. First jam session of the new year. Yeah, a lot of miscellaneous stuff. Trying to get some header images wrapped up still. I was working on adding Patricia's user personas to the guide. So I'm going to help out with that a little bit where I can. Still plugging ahead with the merchant stuff. We constructed basically a new milestone on that jam call. So for anyone who's not familiar with the basic process, the Bitcoin Design Guide has a ton of issues on it. Content requests, feature requests, stuff like that. We work in a milestone process where we try to identify some of those to work on, maybe like 5 or 6 of them, group it into a milestone, set kind of a rough deadline on it, and then move ahead. So we've got a good little milestone of tasks to work with. If anybody's interested in helping, as always, you can check out the issues page on the Design Guide repo. I'm going to be working on a fiat over Lightning PR, which is basically going to be for the how it works section. It's just going to kind of detail some of the different approaches for representing fiat currencies over the Lightning network, which is kind of becoming an important use case, I think, as people start to adopt the technology, and also important for the concept of merchant adoption. So yeah, just plugging ahead with the design guide as always.
Yeah, and I think something that happened a bit was that last year we were so focused on Lightning and the daily spending wallet that other topics kind of added up. So now we have a whole backlog of other issues that would be really good to catch up with. Some of them are just purely creative, creating header images for pages, which it's a really good playground for those AI art tools. And other ones are a lot more in depth, like updating certain details, around certain aspects of Lightning liquidity and other things. So a whole host of things, kind of that we can get through, and that will make the guide they're individually they're not really big and dramatic, but when done all together, I think they'll make everything feel a lot more concise. And I think there's one other topic here. Who posted this one? I think it's a good topic. Sahil posted this one. This is for multi-sig wallets, if a user does a key replacement, there's still an old wallet around, or even when you migrate from one wallet to the next. And that old wallet might still have an address that may be registered with some exchange, which they apparently do, kind of keep addresses around. Or maybe someone else still has an old address. Or maybe you want to keep those addresses and links to transactions for bookkeeping or so. So the question here was, if key rotation and whatnot becomes much easier, what's a good way and what should wallets do to facilitate it for users to track their old wallets that they don't use anymore? So that's an interesting discussion. Sahil is investigating this, and they will launch something. I think this is at Unchained Capital. So they'll launch something there, and then this is super cool. He'll try to write something up and contribute back to the guide. So I'm excited for this one. Has anyone thought about this in depth? Like kind of the backing up and archival of old wallets? Are we all going to have 5,000 recovery phrases floating around in a few years?
Well, I guess I don't understand the exact ask. Like, is it like if the wallet is no longer in use, is it just for like, is it like maintaining? Is it for just like maintaining the transaction history or something like that? Like just being able to like remember what wallet was yours so that you can trace the activity on chain?
So there are two things here. And Sahil responded to this one as well, because my question was, well, is it really something that the wallet should do, or is that something the user just has to just document properly? It's like, you keep your receipts around, right? That's not, the store is not, or your bank doesn't keep the receipts. It's something you personally have to do. And his response was, you'd be surprised how often clients whitelist addresses on Coinbase, Swan, or even just mining companies sending out their LP's fixed address. So that's the one thing where apparently this is actual client need that they have at Unchained Capital, where even though a key was rotated, the wallet's changed, but old addresses are still fixed addresses are being reused, are still around, which is obviously not something you want to do, and it's not a good practice at all. But people sometimes make mistakes too. And the second one is simply for bookkeeping, and I think for bookkeeping it might be as simple as, let's say, you migrate your wallet. There's like a wallet has a clear out function or a key rotation function or so, that there's a feature to just download all your transactions as a CSV file, or maybe all your addresses that you've used. So a couple different things, but I haven't thought about it too much. But Sahil, clearly they learned that this is a client need that they have, and they're thinking of something and will launch something. So I'm excited to see what that will be.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Excited to see what they come up with. I mean, it's one of those things that I feel like is very, very specific to the on-chain world, because obviously in Lightning we don't have all the transaction history that's like kind of permanently stored. So it's like an on-chain specific thing, I think. But yeah, I mean, it does make you think though that like, yeah, I think people are already having this problem where like, okay, the tech's been around for 14 years. And it's been around for 14 years, and people are have already lost all their old wallets, and they've got multiple seed phrases and can't remember which one was made on which date and all of that. So it's good they're looking at it. I think the archiving, our archival need is probably going to only grow over time.
I mean, another aspect there is then how do you actually know that one of your old addresses has received a transaction? So you almost need a read-only wallet with notifications for all your old wallets, just in case.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's like I might stop using a wallet, stop using that key pair, but hypothetically, a couple years down the road, if some coins landed in it, I would want to take those,
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it we'll see what Sahil comes up with. So I'm excited for that one. Cool. Now, next in the newsletter, Stratum V2 has been added as a collaboration to the site. So there was a big push last year when Stratum. I wonder what's going on. Pav is he was here earlier, but he's not feeling well today. Otherwise, we could have asked him. Does anyone know what the state of the Stratum protocol is? Ever since the site was launched and there was a big hubbub around it later I think around fall, I haven't really caught up with what's going on in the project. Either way, there was a collaboration where a few people in the design community did the website for it. Also we had a presentation in Barcelona about Stratum and the collaboration. But does anyone know what the latest status is with Stratum?
I can ramble about it for a moment, until somebody more qualified jumps in. I remember.
No, we don't have to. I was just curious.
Yeah, I mean, there was a core dev meetup at around the same time as TabConf, and I think some transcripts were posted publicly online later, and so I know that there was a discussion about Stratum V2 there. Can you not hear me?
Sorry, I can't hear you there, in case you're speaking. Maybe the same problem as earlier. All right, it's probably going to hop back in. So let's keep on to the next one and then pick up the topic again when Steven's back and has figured out what his audio situation. There he is again. Invite sent. Hopefully he'll join the stage here in a second.
Can you hear me now?
All right. I'll until he joins, let's hop into the next one. So
can you hear me now?
This is something that I posted in the community, and this was about which Bitcoin design or open source conferences are you interested in or planning to visit this year? So, and there's kind of a larger idea. So over the last year, a lot of us in the design community, because we're all involved with different projects and things, like Stephen also helped organize a conference. John's had his own events and whatnot. We also had the design-a-thon in the community. People went by themselves to all these different conferences, primarily in Bitcoin. But as a Bitcoin design community, I think it'd be great if we would also show up more at design conferences in general, like neighboring conferences. So design conferences, open source conferences, and maybe potentially even Web3 conferences. Just broaden out a little bit, join broader conversations, learn from them, and also see if maybe there's some people who are interested in doing things in Bitcoin. I think it'd be a good outreach. But of course, we're in our comfort zone of Bitcoin conferences. I think it comes natural to a lot of us to just go to those because we know people there. We kind of, it's very, very comfortable, very nice. We know which conferences, but it might be good to reach out a little bit further. And not just show up, but also maybe present and organize. And I think it would also really cool if we could have Bitcoin design booth or workshops or, I don't know, a satellite conference and whatnot. So there are a few people in the community that have been chatting about this, trying to figure out what we as a design community, as a Bitcoin design community, should do about conferences over the next year. And so this question here is really just kind of an invitation to just say whatever you think we should do. Could really be anything. It could be super ambitious. We should organize our own 10-day conference in, I don't know, somewhere, whatever place you think is cool around the world. Or it can be more modest, that you just want to maybe just meet up with a few people at a conference and have kind of a designer dinner or do a workshop or a presentation or anything. So this is kind of a conversation starter question. I'd love to hear input from people. And I just found out that today that Johns and I we got accepted to speak at Advancing Bitcoin in beginning of March. So we'll talk at that one. I'll do a workshop on the Bitcoin UI kit. Johns will talk about designer and developer collaborations. And Mo is speaking at FOSDEM, which is beginning of February, I think. about her Bitcoin UX research. So things are starting to roll this year, and let's just see what we can do. I think it'd be amazing if we could all meet up and be engaged. But anyone else want to chime in on this topic?
Yeah, I think it's super cool that you guys got accepted. Congratulations, Johns and Christoph, by the way, for going and speaking and waving the flag, the community flag.
Paulo, you heading to any conferences this year? Any plans there?
I don't have any. Right now, I don't. But I intend to.
Well, it looks like Stephen has not shown up again. There might be something wrong with his phone.
Is there anyone else in listening in who might be attending a conference? If you just want to raise your hand.
Conferences, the general channel in Slack is a good one. Mo, yep. So the one that you're heading to, that's in FOSDEM. Can you let us know what you're going to speak about there?
Yeah, so that's a pretty. It's
February 4 and 5 in Brussels.
Yeah, if anyone else is heading over to Brussels, it would be nice to meet. I'll be there on the 5th. I'll be speaking in the open source dev room, as they call it.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2. No?
I can hear you.
Oh, it might just be Christoph's
sound.
Can
you say something real quick? I just can't hear anyone.
Test 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Let's see if Christoph can hear me. Hello.
Hey, Erik.
Hello.
Hey, I just want to know if you could repeat the name of the conference. Is it FOSDEN, FOSSDEN, or?
Oh yeah, that's FOSDEM, M like Martha at the end.
Okay.
So that is it's a free event for software developers. We spoke there the last couple of years about Bitcoin design, and it was really interesting. They have a track specifically about design and open source. And the last couple of years it was remote. Now it's in person in Brussels. I think it's too late to register for to speak. That happens in December, I think. But Mo will be speaking there.
Let me try testing 1, 2.
Mo, I cannot hear you in case you're trying to. Erik?
I could hear you just fine.
You could
hear
Erik?
Mo?
Yeah, I heard everything you were saying.
Okay.
So Erik, you can hear me.
Yep, I can hear you.
Strange.
You can't hear them, host?
I think I might just jump out.
I'm the host here. I cannot hear Mo.
That's strange. I hear you just fine.
Ah, nice.
I'm going to jump back out and jump back in again.
Okay, that's a pretty funny situation here. I don't know what to do. As a host, I can't just leave right now. Maybe you guys will have to rejoin here so we can get this sorted out. Maybe this is what happens when you fire half the company. All right, time to rebuild this stuff in Nostr. Okay, Mo, how about now? Can you say
Testing
something?
1, 2 Bitcoin sats. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We have liftoff.
Awesome. Can hear you.
Perfect.
Weird stuff happening here. Okay, yeah. Did you want to say something about your conference talk?
Yeah, so that's going to be in FOSDEM. That's in Brussels on the 4th and 5th of February. I'll be speaking in the open source room. There's going to be a couple talks over there, there's a couple really interesting talks that are happening before mine. Some people are going to be speaking about lessons learned in working in open source design, that kind of thing. So Penpot's also going to be there. They're giving the last presentation in that room on the day. But I'll be speaking about the UX research toolkit that we're building. And just a quick 25 minutes about that. It's my first time speaking at FOSDEM. So looking forward to going and meeting other people there. There's quite some other rooms at that conference, which are really high-tech rooms. I kind of went through the topics and I didn't understand anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point there. I see some topics like declarative and minimalistic computing, image-based Linux and secure measured boot, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's very cool. Seems like PenPod, like you said, they're doing the last talk and they're officially launching. I think they've been in alpha and beta for so long. And if anyone's not familiar with PenPod, this is an open source version of Figma created by the people who created Taiga, the project management tool as well. I'm very excited to have an open source alternative to Figma. Last time I tested it, it was still a bit rough at the edges here, but I know the team is working super hard. They even could not do a workshop during our design-a-thon because they were working so hard on their product. And they got a bit of funding recently, got some extra support and backwind there. So I'm really excited to see what this official version 1 will be. And of course for your talk, Mo, as well. Cannot forget that.
Speaking of conferences, we started a thread in the general channel in the community, just asking if anyone was going to any conferences. So feel free to reply in that thread if there's any conferences that have piqued your interest this year. So yeah, we'd love to know what you're attending.
All right, let's move on in the newsletter. We're only halfway through. Carnage, aka Gene, offered to give feedback to design projects. Bosch or Doc Sharp also offered the same. There are a couple people who said, I'm a designer, and they're both very experienced designers. I want to give design feedback. So definitely bug them with your requests. One goes by Carnage with a K, also on Twitter, I think. The other one is Doc Sharp. You could find that thread in general. I think it's linked from the newsletter. Definitely bug those people. They're really smart. Carnage created a video review of the design that I posted today, and I think also for Mo, he did a review of the Wallet Scrutiny website for you. So this is excellent. The Yashush wanted to mention him earlier. He's working on adding something about spaced repetition for the Bitcoin design guide. And that's in the context of security. So kind of repeating different pieces of information or reminding people of certain habits and best practices over and over, potentially as appropriate, in order to build good habits over time. So that could be a simple thing like, hey, are your security settings the way you want it? Or we notice you have a certain amount in your wallet, but you don't have a PIN set up. Or it could be all kinds of things, just trying to figure that out. If you want to give feedback on this draft, that is also, he's looking forward to that. MT asked how to best publicly collaborate on Figma files. Is there a good solution? The answer is no. We're not there yet. Hopefully PenPod can solve that. I'm very jealous of the tools and the culture that GitHub and developers, or Git and developers, have set up. We're not there with design files yet. Things are way better than a few years ago, but not there yet. The next one is about, for wallet scrutiny, the website that does security reviews for Bitcoin wallets and reducibility tests. We're working on redesigning the website. Currently, Mo does user testing on those to kind of get more insight into how people use it. And we're together with Leo and Tanner, we're working on a wallet page redesign. The big task here is an information design, because wallet security review information is very complex and it's very diverse. There might be something about the wallet developer might be a fake company, or there might be some your IP address or addresses leaking. There might be something about it not being reproducible and that could have all kinds of different reasons, all kinds of different aspects. And presenting that in a simple to understand way is quite the challenge. So we came up with some design concepts. I created a video that explains them. Check the newsletter. Would love to get your feedback on it. And then we can adjust it. The idea is to do another couple rounds of review and iteration, and then hopefully get it into production soon. And then the next step after that will be a expert opinions feature using Noster. So if you're into Noster design, I'd also love some feedback, because there are some UX challenges to be solved. Let's see. Now we have the everything else section still. Proof of Keys Day was on January 3. I hope I didn't have to do anything for it. I hope you didn't either. But if you still have coins on exchanges, just make a change. It's for your own good. Might be scary, but it's the thing to do. The Austin Bitcoin Design Club had a special holiday edition event, which was about. So that is a design club in Austin, as the name says, and they had a really cool event. I wonder if someone can find. There's a tweet here with a video, and Mia was doing a live design critique of Mutiny Wallet. Mo, have you kept in touch with Mia recently? Do you maybe have more details on this one?
Yeah, actually, funnily enough, Stephen and I actually just messaged her yesterday because after our design guide jam session, we chatted about her possibly writing something up for the design guide. And it's nice that Andrew's on the call as well. So we reached out to Mia and asked her if she would share her process that she used with redesigning the Bitcoin Beach wallet. So yeah, we're in contact with her at the moment. She seems keen on helping to write something up for the guide. So yeah, we'll take it from there, I guess.
Awesome. I'm trying to find the tweet right now so I can attach it to this space. I can't find it. Let's see. Austin BTC Design is the. Would be amazing if we saw more of these kind of design clubs pop up in different cities or regions. But it does require a good local community, I think. Which day was this? This was on December 29. Almost got it. Just a sec. I'll add I'll add not the one that I was looking for, but another one from the same event. Okay, cool. Oh, this is an interesting one. Geyser Grants. Geyser is a Bitcoin crowdfunding platform, and they have round 2 of their grants went live, and they have 3 different categories. One is for communities and meetups. We just talked about meetups, the Austin Bitcoin Design. Then one is for Bitcoin translations, and one is for Bitcoin visual art. So if you want to do any type of project in these areas, and I'm looking at art since we're here in the design community, but anything else works as well. I mean, I know we have people from all over the world here if you want to do a translation or so. And looks like I see they have a principal Bitcoiners board with a person called Brad Mills, and I see that Brad Mills here also in the audience. Maybe he wants to say something about it, if you'd like. But this is a good thing to apply to if you have anything that you'd like to do and potentially get some funding on.
Brad's just raised his hand, so maybe he would like to speak. I wasn't quite able to.
I'll invite him. Brad, if you can't speak right now, totally fine. All good. If you'd like to, also good. I know. All right, accepted.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for spreading the word on Geyser Grants. I was just reading through the Bitcoin Design newsletter and saw you guys had thrown out a mention there. Thank you. Yeah, we're trying to encourage, I guess, people to pay their Bitcoin tithing, especially a lot of the early Bitcoiners and companies that benefit from Bitcoin. So we're kind of like inspired by the Bitcoin Beach story, where some anonymous Bitcoiner donated some Bitcoin to help the community get set up with accepting Bitcoin as payment. And Andrew is in the audience there. Andrew's from Galloy, which is the tech backend for that whole story. So that was kind of an inspiring story. And then also, you mentioned earlier about going to Web3 conferences. Gitcoin is something that the Web3 people, for all the problems and Ponzi scams and fraud and everything that goes on over there, they developed this thing, Gitcoin, which was like a way to incentivize holders of ETH to donate Ethereum and stable coins to like people building not just tech stuff, because in Bitcoin it seems like thankfully a lot of open source technology gets developed, a lot of developers get funding, but typically you don't see a lot of activity in funding creators, so people that are contributing to Bitcoin culture through their art or their storytelling or their design, and education as much, like translations, things like that. So I liked what Gitcoin was doing. They were probably one of the main reasons that during the bear market of 2019 and 2020 that a lot of the Ethereum community didn't capitulate, because they had this project Gitcoin, which was actually consensus. In the end, it was consensus was just paying people to show Ethereum on Twitter. It was kind of like what it was, but it inspired a bunch of people to start like writing children's books about Ethereum and doing all this kind of stuff. So I was like, we need that for Bitcoin, because it's a good idea, especially in a bear market, to, even if it's small micro grants of $50 in Bitcoin or $100 in Bitcoin, just to show support and encourage people to get active, and just for companies and Bitcoiners to show that they support not just the developers but also people contributing to Bitcoin culture in other ways. So that's what we're doing. It was an anonymous Bitcoiner donated 3 Bitcoin for 3 grants. We did the round 1 in the summer, and now we're on round 2.
Awesome, that's excellent. And if somebody here wants to participate in this, how would they go about this?
Yeah, I'll throw something up into the nest there. It's you just basically set up your own campaign and then apply on the. We have like a page set up where you can submit your application. Because on Geyser, actually, before, it was like you had to run a Lightning node in order to list your own campaign. So in order to launch a fundraiser, you had to run a Lightning node. But recently, we've added support for like LNURL to be able to make it so that anybody can start their own campaign with just a Lightning address.
Yeah, that's excellent. That makes it a lot easier. I see, I'm just scrolling through the list of applications here. I see a good amount of projects from Bolt Fun as well, probably trickling in from Legends of Lightning. It's very cool to see that connection there too. I'll have to look through these. That's super interesting. Yeah, I think one of the things is that I remember when I started doing Bitcoin design, a friend of mine who's a very tech savvy person and an experienced designer, he was like, "Well, what's there to design?" Right? So it can just not be obvious that in the Bitcoin ecosystem that there's a lot of space and need for design, for art, for culture, for creativity. But I also think it's needed, and so I do hope that with these grants, that this will help push things a little bit forward. Thank you so much for organizing that. Okay, see the tweet at the top now. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, everyone here. Make sure to check that out. Support Geyser, support the projects. Even if sometimes even if you're not personally involved, if you don't like coding, if you don't have time or so, just support the projects, like 5 sats, a nice message or so. Those may sometimes just be the things that, make someone, continue with something that they're doing. So make sure to show your support when you can. Oh, talking about supporting something else, we're not going to get around to the whole newsletter here, but the next one I think is really nice. So last year in the Summer of Bitcoin program, they had, which is a summer coding program for Bitcoin. I think they had, I forgot the exact number, but it was in the thousands, maybe even 10,000 applicants or so from students all around the world, a lot of them in India. Students apply for the summer program. All kinds of projects participated and mentored students in various Bitcoin projects. The students also had a whole, not a phase, like a whole preparation phase where they had to read certain books, study certain topics, learn a little bit about Bitcoin economics, the technical side, all kinds of aspects, before they worked with the mentors. And there was a design track as well. And the Padawan wallet, which is a Bitcoin on-chain testnet wallet, really great for trying things out, experimenting. When it's fine if you lose your seed phrase, it's fine if you lose some testnet Bitcoin. But it also features information to onboard people to get them to understand the concepts. And there were 3 design students, one from India, one from Africa, one from the US, which collaborated on redesigning this and did a really good job at it. And just a couple of days ago, Thunder Biscuit, who develops the Padawan, he said that very soon he'll have a lot of the designs implemented and it will go live. So that's very cool. I think when was that presentation? Late early fall of last year. And now a few months later, we see those students' work get implemented. So that's super cool. And they're also, Padawan's also open for contributions if you'd like to help out there. So keep an eye out on this one. And we're up to the hour now. So few more items, like 5-6 things. But I would actually start wrapping it up right now, unless anyone here would like to speak to any of the other topics or any other design topics or any Bitcoin topics, anything else you'd like to share with the world, or at least the people in this space.
I would like to share with you very quickly how my
Our speakers are
research
Erik, Mo,
project's going.
and Paulo. Any last words here for today? Unfortunately, we lost Stephen earlier.
Yeah, someone was speaking. I think you can't hear them. Somebody was saying that.
Okay.
Oh no.
Yeah, same issue as last time, host. But I can hear you, Paulo. I heard what you were saying. Could everyone else hear him?
I could hear him. Yeah, I could hear
Cool.
Paulo.
Okay. How about I'm quiet? You guys have your conversations, and you let me know when you're done.
All right, we'll do that.
We'll do that, Christoph.
All right. I would like to very quickly let you know how my research project is going. I had a great time in Brazil last year in September and talked to a bunch of people about how things were going with the digital payment system that they rolled out there called PIX. And it's just fascinating. It's just fascinating. I'm at this stage where I am transcribing a lot of the voice recordings that I made during the time there and tagging everything and clustering information and collecting insights. And I can't wait to share with you guys the things that I learned. And if you are asking yourselves why I spent some time as a Bitcoiner trying to understand what was happening with the digital payment system in Brazil, it's because I think that there's a lot of lessons to be learned for us. I mean, there's a when it comes to the user experience, there's a lot of similarities between the PIX payment system and Bitcoin. So I think it's just super cool to see that a digital payment system is being used by so many people in a country that is violent, where there's a low level of literacy, where you have just a bunch of challenges that put pressure on this thing. And I saw some of the insights are just amazing. Some are horrible when it comes, for example, to some decisions that they made regarding privacy, for example. And I think you guys will like to know, and I can't wait to share it with you. That's it.
Super cool, Paul. We really look forward to learning what insights you got from doing your research in Brazil. But yeah, Christoph, he just basically shared with us very briefly that he collected some various research and he's now kind of wrapping up everything, and he can't wait to share it with the community. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Sure, he wasn't just talking crap about me behind my back. I'm kidding. No, awesome. I remember, Paulo, when you announced your trip. So that's super cool. Excited to hear, to learn what you've learned. All right. How about we just wrap it up for this call then? So we have a few things to look forward to. And thank you all for joining here. If you'd like to continue design conversations, join the design community, sign up for the newsletter, and just make sure every day we work together to make Bitcoin and Bitcoin UX a little bit better, because that's what we're here for. So thank you all, and have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.